Come here. All right. Right on the spinnerbait, right where she's supposed to be. Today is all about summertime bass fishing. We're gonna go through a little tips and tricks on where I like to find and fish these guys in the middle of summer. Get her back. Right now, we're just in the back part of this lake. It's really weedy back here. I mean, this whole bay maybe gets down to 10 feet. And we're just searching. My buddy Mike here's got a worm Texas rig hooked up and he's hitting little pockets that he sees. And I got a spinnerbait and I'm just combing these big banks off. And we're just searching for these bass. And once we start finding some, then we're gonna fine tune our approach and really get into them. Hit it right away. Another little guy though. Another one in there? They're just thick. So I'm up a minute. I want to talk to you a little bit about the lures that I'm using on these big feeding flats for bass. Obviously, one of your biggest finding fish lures is a spinnerbait. You can fish them quick, you can fish them through cover, you can fish them deep, shallow, anywhere. So that's kind of the main go-to bait when you're searching for these fish. And once you've found them, there's a number of different lures that work really well for catching these fish. You've got your glide baits like this one, will walk the dog, underwater action. These can be dynamite over tops of weeds. You've got topwaters like this chugger or this Zara spook that I have rigged up. And topwaters are excellent because when fish are jumping and surfacing, you can cast a topwater right to that exact spot, and 90% of the time they're going to come up and at least try to hit it. So topwaters are great throwback lures too. And then obviously you've got little rapalas like this flat wrap or a X-wrap, small crankbaits that are shallow. You can run over the tops of those weeds, or even deep ones if you want to try to dig them down into those holes inside the weeds. So those are a few of the lure options that I like to use. And you always need to remember, in these thick weeds like this, you got to have heavy gear to get those fish hooked and get them out of there. So I'm right back to my bait caster here. Fast reel speed on my reel, stiffer rod, and heavy 50-pound test line. It's a must. You hook these fish, they go down in those weeds, you're going to lose them if you don't have anything like this. So just a little guy. It's all right. Topwater even, that makes it fun. But the kind of spots that I'm looking for, well, like I said, we're moving fast, we're covering water, but the kind of spots I'm looking for really is just feeding flats. And what I'm talking about feeding flats is an area, however big it may be, 50 yards or 100 yards or half a mile, but it's all the same depth and it's got some weed growth on top of it and sunfish up there, bait fish. Oh, just missed it. And that's what these bass will do, is they'll move up on top of these feeding shelves to come in and get their food. You got one? Oh yeah. There's a good one here. Took you right down into the weeds. Nice fish. It's a good one. All these fish are doing up here is just feeding. They'll move in to feed, they'll leave when they're full. And you're just going to have waves of fish all day. They move in, move out, move in, move out. There you go. And the worm too. It's a nice fish. And these fish, like I said, they just move in, move out to feed. So you're going to get different fish all the time. So just because you fished an area once and you didn't catch nothing, doesn't mean they're not going to be there. They'll move back in when it's time to feed. Nice fish, Mike. No. Pretty small. Pretty small. Stop it. When you find these little feeding flats, you can slow down. When you, like, we just started coming up to this area and fish started jumping. Now obviously that one wasn't very big, but if there's one in there, there's going to be more. They're all up here doing the same thing. So when you find these big feeding flats, slow down a little bit, maybe throw a topwater, try those jigs, try those Texas rigs, Carolina rigs, anything you can think of, because those fish are up there. You don't want to just leave and go to a different spot just because you went through there and didn't catch any. So slow down when you find those feeding flats, and you'll put a lot more bass in the boat.
Yes, you did. Good fish.
That's a good one. Stay down, girl.
Oh.
Come here.
Good fish.
That's what we're looking for. Topwaters, big feeding shelves like this in the summer, prime spots for big bass to sit and wait for some good food to come by. So get those topwaters out, those jigs, those pigs, spinner baits, anything else you can think of, and get up on these feeding shelves and throw them, because you'll have a blast catching big bass. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.